Hello, everybody. Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest. Riker, ever since Kawhi Leonard left, before Kawhi Leonard left, it's been going back seasons. Masai Ujiri, he's had his bag, he's had his master plan already on the wall. You know, one of those movie scenes where there's lines going everywhere, there's paints. It's Masai Ujiri's wall, and at the top of the pinnacle, the Raptors' main target, 2021, Giannis Antetokounmpo. And we're going to break down why he's a possible fit for the Toronto Raptors, why if he leaves Milwaukee, Toronto's probably the most likely destination by all accounts from what we've seen on reported, on Twitter, what people are talking about. We're going to break it down and why it's key for Masai Ujiri to pick up Giannis in 2021. Riker?
Ben, you just mentioned we have about 19 players on the roster right now. Maybe... Well, I guess we're a year out, we're a year too far out because I don't think we can hold on to that many players now moving into the regular season. But maybe the play is to just gather as many players from around the league, try to accumulate whatever Giannis's contract is. Actually, that would be terrible. Imagine getting him for the last year of his contract as well and then losing him in free agency. But either way, there's some master play up to here, and that was just a little joke, but we can have a serious conversation about if this is a possibility. Now, a lot of people will counter and say that it's unlikely that Giannis will want to leave if he's expressed from time and time that he likes playing in Milwaukee and he'd like to be a guy like Dirk Nowitzki that played an entire career in one jersey. But he's also voiced that various reports that if they don't have a winning season or a championship season, then he will look other places. So, Ben, why not break it down? Why does Toronto make sense?
Certainly, and I'll just elaborate on the report that you brought up because he's been a guy that has those quotes, and that's people are going to have been saying to the Giannis to Toronto movement that Giannis is a guy that's unlikely to move. He's not like LeBron or KD, but he has said that he wants to win. The Milwaukee Bucks just lost Malcolm Brogdon. We're not sure if they're going to be a better team than last year. So if they don't make the finals, we don't know what Giannis defines as winning. Is it a championship or is it just being a contending team? But if he's not there, then he could be looking to go elsewhere. And why Toronto is the best fit? Well, the first point that I'm going to bring up is Masai Ujiri. And Masai Ujiri and Giannis Antetokounmpo have had a relationship that dates back before Giannis was even looked at as a star, looked at as a big up-and-coming prospect, because they're both Nigerian, even though Giannis grew up in Greece. But they both have Nigerian ancestry, and apparently Giannis wasn't able... Masai Ujiri, I don't know the specifics right off by heart, but Masai Ujiri helped Giannis get his passport and his ability to play in camps in the United States when he was looking to become a basketball prospect, looking to get his name out there. So they've had a relationship ever since Giannis was a young guy. He helped him, come over and promote himself as the basketball player he is. So they have this well-established relationship, and the fact that we're going to have a lot of cap space. Masai Ujiri's crafted this team. We've signed a lot of players, Riker, to 2-year deals this season. And in 2021, that's the year Giannis' contract is off the books, assuming he doesn't sign an extension. So we have the cap space, we have the attractiveness of Masai Ujiri, and you can bring up what Toronto, does for their superstar and why it would be an attractive destination for Giannis.
Well, we don't need to even necessarily hash that out. I'm sure anybody that's even lived under a rock has known all of the offerings, both that the Toronto Raptors physically on the books could give to Kawhi Leonard in the package to get him to try to retain him in trying to get him during free agency, but also everything crazy that happened within the community in terms of people and restaurant owners and hotel proprietors and everybody giving all these incentives to get players to stay. And it's very clear that Toronto wants a winning team and they love to polarize around a good player, and they will really do anything to support them and get them to stay. So Giannis could be that guy. And like you said, there's a big Greek population in Toronto. We have a really multicultural city, and he has tremendous support every time he comes and plays. There's always a couple hundred people, it seems, that wait in the stands, and he always goes and interacts with them after games while he's in Toronto. So the ability is there, and I think what needs to happen now for this to become a little bit more of a reality is a mid-round exit, because I could see a trap that the Milwaukee Bucks find themselves in, despite having an MVP on their team, is to be a Oklahoma City team or to be a Portland Trailblazers or one of those teams that they're always in contention, or to even be like the Clippers when they had Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan and Chris Paul. Everybody had way higher expectations on them, but to be a team that routinely gets stuck with a mid-round exit. Yeah. And you could even put Toronto in there prior to getting Kawhi Leonard. And that's a frustrating situation to be in. So if he wants to be on a winning team and they lose in the second round this season, we can advance the narrative even further, I'm sure.
Certainly. And, Toronto Raptors, they proved that if they bring in a superstar, Masai Ujiri, even in one season, for a guy that's coming off an injury with a roster that was continuously a treadmill team, he built a championship roster immediately, as soon as that player came in. And if Giannis comes in, that must be attractive to see, like, okay, I can be the number one guy, and I'll have the perfect complementary pieces around me to be able to win a championship as long as I can perform. And I think that's what Giannis wants to do. I don't think Giannis is the player that's going to be looking to team up with another couple superstars in a big market. And, maybe that's his I'm wrong on this, but from all the quotes we've been getting, he wants to be in a winning organization, but not on a super team. And he's not born in LA or anything like that. He's not going to be attracted to a home place. So I could see Toronto having that attractiveness in that sense, where he'd be the superstar. He wouldn't be looked at as joining a super team, and he'll be capable of winning a championship. And the Toronto Raptors' young core, it just makes sense how it fits around Giannis if he were to come in this 2-year stretch, because we have Fred VanVleet, who's showing, especially in the finals, in the Eastern Conference Finals, that he can be a very capable, top-notch point guard in this league under the biggest of moments. So he's going to be a piece that's going to be an attractive guy to play with. Pascal Siakam, people call him Giannis Light. He got just one Most Improved Player, but he's still in the gym working with Rico Hines. We could probably make 5 videos on Pascal Siakam, everything we've seen of him this summer and his contract coming up. But his jumper from the videos, it looks quicker, it looks smoother. He's probably going to come back even better next season. OG Anunoby, people have forgot about him. He could take the defensive load off Giannis. He's a 3-and-D guy. And Masai Ujiri is just going to keep building players and that fit around a possible superstar, whether he comes or not. I don't know. I think Toronto just makes sense in the relationships he has with the city, how the city's shown to embrace stars, and the fact it's not a super team.
Yeah. Now, we can't bite off more than we can chew. We said that Toronto would make sense for Kawhi. We both adamantly expressed that we had apprehensions about saying it, but our final few videos and speculation, we both sort of confirmed.
We thought he was staying.
We thought he was staying, yeah. We thought that everything being equalized, it made the most sense to stay. We were both shocked.
Yep.
So I'm going to go in with a lot more caution and a lot more risk. I'm going to put a grain of salt on every single conversation that we have when it comes to acquiring players in free agency, because that's very difficult. But the point about him not having a tie to any American state, it does hold valid. And if you want a big market, maybe players are biased to think that if they're in the States, that's the only place that they can receive that. But if you're in Canada, there's only one team.
Yeah.
You're going to be very well recognized. Everybody's going to love you in the city, right? Everybody in the nation will get to know your name if you bring that sort of fame and championship caliber to the team. So there is a very compelling story to be had. And like I said, I think it really boils down to what is going to be the outcome of the Bucks now moving forward into this season and the next. If they are a treadmill team, like you said, if they're finish in the first seed and then they disappoint twice in a row or once in a row, then maybe he's going to start thinking more about his exit strategy and what he wants to have. And I totally agree with the players now that we're building up. Who knows what everybody else on the team is going to do, but I think we can be certain that Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, they're going to continue their upward trajectory, and I can't imagine that we're going to let them go in free agency or anything like that. So we'll have at least 2 really good guys to incentivize a player that is not he is a superstar, but that doesn't want to go team up with other superstars. Yeah. It's a really good package to make. So, like I said, this is a narrative that we're going to continue to have because we don't have a superstar right now, and we're thirsty to get some huge name back onto the team. So I'm sure we'll hear a lot about it as the rumors keep circulating throughout this season, or maybe it'll quiet down, but certainly into the playoffs.
Certainly. I'm a believer in OG Anunoby too. A lot of people have jumped off that bandwagon, but I think he's going to be big time for the Toronto Raptors in the future. And Norman Powell, he's been streaky. He's had his up and downs, Riker, but Giannis Antetokounmpo plays for the Bucks. Every time he sees Norman Powell play, he kind of turns into Michael Jordan, so he probably has higher expectations and views on Norman Powell as well. So there's attractive team out there of not huge names where, as you mentioned, no super team logo or thought that he'll team up. And you brought up the market. I think this is perfect for Giannis because he's a superstar that needs his brand, in a place where he'll be notified and, people will rally behind him. But it's not a glamour franchise. And he said he's not all about the glamour of like Miami or LA. And Toronto, despite the fact it's, I think, the fourth biggest city that an NBA team plays in, but it's not looked at as a glamour destination. So I think it's just a perfect fit on paper. And now, you're more skeptical on players coming here than I am. I'm obviously a bit more Raptors homer biased, whatever. People that listen to the podcast know that. I'm self-aware, but just to bring up some negative points about Giannis joining the Toronto Raptors, he can get a lot more money with Milwaukee. He can sign that super max in that deal. I think I looked at his possible contract he can sign next offseason. He could be making over $50 million per year for a few seasons. That's absolutely ridiculous. That the money might play a factor, but that's the biggest thing. And the Bucks are still a good team. Despite the fact they lost Brogdon, they still have Middleton, Bledsoe, all these players. So they're still going to be good. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens, Riker.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't discount either money as being a motivation. Mm-hmm. Certainly with his story, research it if you're interested, but everything that he had to go through, and especially everything that's going on in Greece and that's continued to go on in terms of their downturn in the economy and how big of a family person that he is and how much he supports everybody from his community back home where he grew up, I could definitely see him taking on that extra money so that he can support other people and, buy more things for his parents, his family, his brothers, everything. I know a few of them are trying to make their way in the NBA as well, but it doesn't seem like they're going to have as much success. So like I said, it's going to be an interesting story as we get closer to the final time. I think the biggest thing right now is that the Milwaukee Bucks need to go in with big expectations and then go out with a big bang, and in a bad way, like a big fall off a cliff kind of exit from the playoffs. And then that's going to be when we can really start to say, maybe he's looking at another team.
Certainly, and it's going to be tough because I'm a huge Giannis fan. I was even saying in the Bucks series, I really like Giannis, the basketball player, the personality, and all that sort of stuff. But I'm going to be rooting hard against the Milwaukee Bucks the next few seasons if they're playing the Toronto Raptors or not. Because I want Giannis to come to the Toronto Raptors. But Riker, last point. Yes or no question. Will Giannis Antetokounmpo be a Toronto Raptor in 2021?
Yes. Sure.
Yes. It's conclusive. It's for sure. Raptors Digest said it, so you can take it for 100% fact.
Take it to the bank.
Anyways, you guys are the best for making this far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. Hopefully Giannis Antetokounmpo becomes a Toronto Raptor. Riker, do you have any last words?
Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know if that's a Greek accent, but sure. All right. Cheers.